In compliance with the Open Public Meetings Act of 1975, adequate notice of this meeting has been provided. If any member has reason to believe that this meeting is being held in violation of this act, they should so state at this time. Seeing nobody. Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Dave, can you have a roll call, please?
Sure. We have Kim. Mike.
Here.
Barbara. Sarah. Charlotte.
Here.
Gretchen.
Here.
Myself. Justine.
Here.
Chris. Randall. Here. Councilman Bodnar.
Here.
Okay, we have the minutes of September 23rd. Anybody have any issue with those minutes? If not, is there a motion?
So made.
Is there a second?
A second.
All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, old business planning board. I was away for the last meeting, but I understand there was a minor application for Swains for a minor property line adjustment, which we submitted a report to from our commission, and that was about it for that. I'm pretty sure it was approved. Steve, you had a council report?
Sure. Actually, I'll touch on something that's with Planning Board and with City Council as well, the Workforce Housing Initiative that has been discussed. So the idea behind it is there are locations in the business district, specifically around the mall, that have second and third floor space on them that can be utilized for apartments. The way with our planning and our zoning right now, you would need to have parking to be able to utilize those as apartments. So one of the longstanding issue in Cape May is housing, affordable housing and workforce housing. And in this instance, workforce housing, as defined in and discussed before the Planning Board, as well as discussed in the definition before City Council, would be anything that's really outside of the short-term rental housing. The idea of people who are residing in Cape May to work locally, but even to reside and contribute to the community, add to the number of folks that would be living in the community, even if they were commuting to other towns outside of Cape May. The issue with the reason why those apartments had not been developed to date is due to the fact that there's a parking requirement in Cape May. And we obviously know that there's a significant parking issue in Cape May as well. But from a policy standpoint, looking at this, that it is more critical to address issues of affordable housing, as in not the legal definition of affordable housing, but housing that individuals can live in Cape May, add to the workforce, and reside here. And so the policy decision has been made that it's more significant to add the opportunity to for people to live in Cape May and utilize those spaces for housing, and as opposed to making the priority the parking. So I believe that had gone before Planning Board. Planning Board had approved the concept. This is consistent with the master plan for Cape May as well. So City Council is looking at that. I think there may be something before Planning Board actually tonight.
Is there a meeting tonight?
Yeah, I think there's a meeting coming up as well. Let's just say the next meeting, the discussion had been looking initially just at the mall blocks for.
That's where they're emphasizing this.
That is the emphasis. I believe that it's going to be recommended to look at all of C1, the entire business district. So that'll be something for the planning board to consider and have a discussion about. I just wanted to mention that, 'cause Mike, you were talking about planning board issues, and this is, obviously the idea of workforce housing has been something that has been significant for Cape May. Looking at, so we're looking at different ways to be able to expand that, and as I said, it's consistent with the master plan. So that is something that's actually, it's kind of in city council's lap at the moment, but it's also going to be revisited by planning board
We're
just
ready to
to.
address it, I guarantee you.
Sorry?
We're ready to address it, I guarantee you.
Okay, so we, look, everybody's discussing it, everybody's working on it, so, okay. I just wanted to mention that the police station groundbreaking is scheduled for, I believe, Thursday, November 13th, groundbreaking. So I see Paul walking by, and I think he just kind of gave me the high sign that he's in agreement with that. So if you have, looking forward to finally, we've been talking about the police station for a long time, and now we're actually going to be breaking ground on it. So moving forward with that project. Last item I just want to mention is there's been a discussion about having I guess a citywide open house. That open house would take place sometime in the springtime. The idea behind it would be to have an opportunity to have different from, say, like a town hall, but the idea that this would be open to the public, certainly would want the public to be there, an opportunity to see folks from different commissions and different boards, and there would just had the opportunity to provide information to folks about just what those boards and commissions, how they may function, different projects or different initiatives that some of those boards or commissions have been involved with, and an opportunity for the public to interact with folks who are involved in those commissions and in those boards. So this was something that was discussed at a city council meeting 1 or 2 sessions ago. There's been at least one this follow-up meeting to kind of an organizational meeting on that line in a very still formulating aspect, but right now there's just been a discussion to try to have that move forward, to have that take place sometime in the spring of 2026.
That'd be like at the convention center or something like that?
We would do that there, yes. We would need the thought process would be this room, great for many meetings, but probably not adequate for kind of like the layout of that. We would be talking about doing this at Convention Hall. So it'd be an opportunity for, as I said, a lot of people to showcase and discuss initiatives that have been going on. Great opportunity, say, for instance, to talk about, like, you think about the Environmental Commission, the Columbia Project, the water project that was done last year, what's going on right now. It's just another way to be able to educate the public, and also to have people, well, to educate the public, but also for them to be able to get more understanding, and also to ask questions of folks.
I make sure it's a time when people are going to be in town a lot, even just not when people are away, kind of a thing, you know what I mean?
That's been a great part of the discussion. We want to maximize the opportunity for folks to be here. So I think we're looking right now for that sweet spot of before town gets crazy, but when residents and folks would be more likely to come back into town. So, yeah, this is not something that's going to happen in late January, early February. So
Anything else?
that's what I have.
Any questions? The police building, I guess it's going okay, as far as you know, I mean, the process?
Yes, I know that they have, the task force is regularly still having meetings. I know they had a pre-construction meeting just a couple weeks ago. My understanding is, everything is going according to plan and on schedule.
Any idea when they expect it to be complete? Any idea?
I
You
think
remember?
believe it be, so don't hold me to this, but I believe this is going to be, we're starting obviously late 2025. I think we're talking about 2027
Okay.
that it would be completed. So, I mean, obviously, there's a lot of moving parts to that, but I think that's the
I'd
time.
like to see that building done. We really need that building.
Can you
Go ahead.
recap for me, at least, what sustainability or renewable types of building materials are being used on the police station?
What I could do is I could have Paul come and talk with us at some point. To provide specific information about the station itself and the construction of it. So I don't have that information in front of me, Justine, but I'm happy to be able to get that maybe at the next meeting that we could.
No, there's that city ordinance that says that any city building must consider the incorporation of those types of materials during construction, but I didn't know if it had been
Yeah, I know.
used as a guideline.
So I know there's been a great deal of thought, and I know, HPC has approved the plans. I know John Becker specifically has looked at them, so, but we can get more information on that. I know one thing that would be of concern to me, and I think would be for our, for this committee to certainly suggest that the city does everything to maximize the use of is, look, a police station is going to require a lot of energy, a lot of electricity to run that. I believe that there's opportunities to really utilize solar power there.
Yeah.
And there have been discussions along those lines to do that, and I would suggest that this is a topic that for this, for our group, that this commission continues to encourage the city to maximize the use of solar power as much as possible for that building. It's something as I said, there have been discussions along those lines, but I think it's something that we should be mindful of to keep to the city's forefront as, everything is finalized, and to make sure that is incorporated into the, the final product that we have at the police station.
Charlotte, do you remember when that ordinance was passed? Or what it specifically says? Or Mike, do you remember?
About alternative energy?
Government buildings
I
and
can certainly look it up,
and alternative energy? I think it's pretty clear.
yeah. And certainly it dates back to the early 2000s.
Yeah.
It does. It started, actually, with one of our buildings on the beach for the lifeguards. That was the first building, city building to have solar. And then the Nature Center also
I
had.
feel like at the time, and that was 2006, 2007, the building was completed, I feel like it wasn't required, but we did it at the Nature Center. Like, we basically, our Welcome Center building, there was an existing building, and we treated it as a renovation, but truth is, we knocked it down to the foundation and rebuilt it. And we did incorporate as much as we could at the time, like extra thick walls and insulation. And the reason we got solar was because I happened to go to the Atlantic City, like, home and garden show, and I walked around to all the solar businesses and told them that they had an opportunity to showcase their business. And we were able to get that system at no cost. But it wasn't required of us at the time. So I don't know, I mean, that's just the story. That
Something was passed. I don't, I can't recall the specific language, but there is something on the books that says government buildings must consider
Exactly.
this
Well,
at least.
I'll look that up.
Wait,
Okay.
Dave, let's put this on the agenda for next month. All right? We'll try and get somebody in here to talk to us about the building, okay? We'll figure that out. All right?
good.
Might also be great for the station to find out how many EV chargers it has, because part of the fleet is EV now.
One of, so at the next meeting, we can arrange for someone to be here to discuss the overall plans and to address that question as well as other questions. I think it's,
Well,
Should be easy to
we'll do that. I was telling Charlotte, I was traveling in Europe, in Hungary and Czech Republic, and there were solar panels everywhere. I mean, everywhere. I mean, where they could. Not so much in the proper, like in the cities per se, because they can't do it so much there. But open fields, wherever they could, they were just racks and racks of these panels. Okay, anybody else on that? Dave, you wanted to comment on Dune Day again, I guess?
Yeah, I just want to, it was successful this year, planting
Had
everything in the
fun
ground.
doing that, but-
Yeah, it was a really good day. I would say we probably had between, with your group that came, the public, maybe like 40, 50 people at the end of the day. So everything was planted, everybody had a good time. So lots of wildlife, so it was a good day.
I made a mental note that a year from now, I was going to go back out and see where I had a little section that I was planting. I mean, I was really working on it. I want
Yeah.
to go back and see what, if any of it took.
Yeah, for sure, yeah.
That was a nice spot though, right there.
Yeah, so we'll do it again
We
next
weren't
year.
bothering anybody, we were just there, just working.
Yeah, fun day.
Some people came and didn't know a thing about how to plant anything. I mean, it was, excuse me, you're here to plant, and he said, how do I do, anyway, it was funny. Then we had some guys who actually took a whole couple bundles of it and just, they got lost and they were just doing it themselves. I mean, they were just having a great old time, just planting. What,
But you had quite a crew.
Oh, yeah, and there was one, there was one guy, we had a clump, he left with a clump of stuff and came back a minute later without a clump. So I don't know what, remember that guy? We don't know
We
what he
never
did.
found it.
No, we think he just
It's the mystery
chucked, I think he just chucked it in some of the weeds somewhere, honestly, because there's no way he could have planted that stuff. Anyway, but just a tale. Okay, any new business anybody wants to talk about? I think next month we'll talk about the police building, and get some idea where we're headed on those kind of issues on the sustainability stuff.
I will talk about, it kind of relates to something we discussed at the last meeting, was the nature trail, that some observations, because I've been doing my morning walks out there, and I did write a memo to give to the city manager summarizing my thoughts. I just, before this meeting, could not print it out for whatever reason. My computer was like in the circle of hell, just going on and on. So I wanted to bring that to share with you, but, so it's just pointing out some recommendations that we have that we want to share with the city as far as trying to find funding to combat invasive species there. Some recommendations of things that we can do during community days. And I know there is a community cleanup day supposed to be this Thursday, but the weather is iffy, but if it happens, I did have some recommendations. So hopefully when I go home, I'll just,
Put that on the agenda for next month, too.
yeah,
We'll get something to him about it, and maybe you can get that out to everybody.
I will email it when I get home, but I wanted to bring it, but anyway.
I haven't been, is it getting a lot of play out there, or not as much as it should be, or what do you think, Dave?
The nature trail?
Nature trail.
I mean, well, my husband and I have been walking almost every morning out there, doing a couple of loops, getting ready for our vacation, just getting our steps in. And there's people, been a lot of bird watchers this time of year. You know, it is being known or told to the birders. I even saw a couple of vans of a trip, and I recognized the guy that was leading the trip. I think he's from Ocean County Park System, so people know about it as another place to go. Trash is not the issue out there, fortunately. That's not a problem. So if you're gonna like go pick up trash, there's not much to get. It's the invasive species, it's the vines. And so I just, you know, listed a recommendation of things. I mean, to tell you the truth, I walk out there and I almost, you know, get anxiety rather than this sense of calm, because I see all that ivy that is choking out the trees and took over most of the forest, which is what it was before the trail was put in. So it's a massive undertaking to try to restore that habitat. We can do a little bit. It's kind of Band-Aid fixes. Some of the trees adjacent to the trail that are smothered, we can tackle those. There's some nice hollies that if we could get the vines off of that, it's going to give the chance for the holly to you know, fill out more and be beneficial. We talked about, you know, maybe doing a planting of seeds. I brought some seeds. I'm not here Thursday because I'm leaving on my trip, but if somebody wants to take these, if you do have the trip, spread them out there. Some species, like, and I forgot to bring it with me, but I harvested a bunch of purple coneflower. I've got a baggie of seeds that you can plant now for spring bloom. And it's almost an experiment. You just take it, you scratch it into the top surface, and maybe they'll come up. To really do it right, it's going to probably mean, you know, tilling the space, and I'm not an expert in creating a meadow. There are people from Pinelands Nursery, who is a native plant wholesaler in the state that does habitat restoration on the big scale. You know, if we order seed from them, they would probably give us some recommendations on how to do it properly for the best success. So there's that. And then to me, the main pledge is that the city should pledge, especially in the nature trail area, to only plant native plants that are known to thrive in Cape May County. You could say, oh, it's a native plant. Well, it might be a native plant in Michigan. That's not New Jersey. And then also in the park, you know, I know there's plans already for the park and everything, and many native plants have been used. I know there are cases where maybe a native plant isn't recommended or whatever. There's some alternatives, as long as they're not aggressive plants that could then become an invasive species out into the wild areas. So that's what my memo talks about. And a friend of ours who frequents the library a lot told me that there's two sweet magnolias that were planted on Franklin across from the library. It's one of my favorite trees, but it's not necessarily a street tree because it branches out very low. And my friends told me that the librarian was telling them that someone in a wheelchair was having a hard time navigating the sidewalk. And so those two plants, those two trees are going to have to be pruned up higher so that people can walk and not get hit in the eye, or a wheelchair can't bypass the sidewalk.
These are trees? Or
They're trees. And they're, like I said, I love those trees. They're beautiful. And as they get bigger, you can raise the canopy. So you let the top grow, but you want the bottom to be pruned out. And so that's just, you know, a recommendation too. And the Shade Tree Commission may be trying to select good native trees, but in that particular case, by the sidewalk, it's way too encroaching of the sidewalk. Someone definitely with a wheelchair is going to be scraping into those branches. I would almost recommend digging them up and putting them out at the nature trail because it's a wonderful native tree. But just things like that. And I notice because I am going on walks and I know these trees and I know, proper place is critical.
How long have those trees been,
Pretty new.
if they're still pretty?
Just after they did all the sidewalks and the bricks and everything, and they have these metal grates around them for water to get into them, they're beautiful trees. But they aren't the right trees for that location by a sidewalk. You can prune them, but they're also slow growing. So for them to be a big tree, like a shade tree, a street tree, it's going to take time. So, yeah. And then the other thing, old business, are we doing dark sky this year? No, okay. It's okay. It's kind of a thing that might be an every other year, every couple of years event. Wasn't that November? Yeah. Yeah, okay.
Other old business,
Go ahead.
tomorrow is the mid-project report from the current Columbia cohort. So next month would be a good time to report back to the commission on the presentation.
We'll put that on the agenda, Dave.
Is there going to be
A final one.
is there going to be a call or for tomorrow? Is there a Zoom? How is
There-
that going to be being
There
conducted?
is Paul, John Becker, and myself are scheduled to be on it. I'm happy to share the link.
Okay.
We just replied to the group.
Okay.
I think they didn't ask for everyone because it's not the final report.
All good, just offering to be part if,
Would love you to be,
Okay.
if you think you can make it. It is at 2.
That was a nice meeting out there.
yeah, it's going to be by way of Zoom?
Correct.
Send me the link. I
Okay.
believe I will be available for
Okay.
that. I would like to be on that.
Yeah, I guess, to Mike's point, the other update on that is the group did come down to Cape May, and it was a very successful trip. They arrived and did a historic district walking tour with John Becker and Lorraine Baldwin. Then they did planting dune grass and looked at the dune system with David and Mike, and then went to see the stormwater pumping facilities. One of the 4 met one of the engineers. They were absolutely fascinated with that. Ended up turning a 20-minute stop into an hour-and-a-half stop, assessing the pumping facilities. Then we did breakout sessions, workshop essentially at the Arts and Science Center, and they were able to discuss various components of coastal resilience with different representatives from the city. And then they did a boat tour of the creek and the harbor. We split into 2 groups. Our mayor took one group and my brother took the other group. By boat, we went at high tide, so we could get pretty far back up into the creek, and then we looked at the rest of the harbor, shoreline, the different types of materials, from like a living shoreline to a built shoreline, what the different bulkheads look like, where flooding occurs most frequently. Then we went to dinner, and then the following day, Tom, Carol, and Lorraine led them on a trolley tour of other flood-prone areas throughout the town. So that was their stay.
What did the trail look like from the water? I think a pretty different perspective on that trip.
Yeah, I kind of like a pier,
Yeah,
you know? I had never been back up there, to be honest. It's, I always head the other way. But after going back up there at high tide, I then realized what a great crabbing location it is. And I took my son crabbing there 2 days later at high tide, and we got some wonderful blue claws. So that was pretty cool. But I also noticed how many private docks are up there. I had no idea there were so many properties on Lafayette that had private docks extending to that creek. It was kind
It's
of
a
shocking.
great place to kayak.
Yeah.
There's tons of ospreys.
Uh-huh.
Some of the ospreys are on those docks that build nests. And, I mean, that's a common place where the tour companies take people kayaking.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
I'm not surprised. It's very shallow.
yeah.
Even at high tide, there were spots that were 6 feet, 5 feet even, which means they're high and dry at low tide. So, but it was great. The group apparently has some ambitious suggestions. So we don't know what they will be yet, but as Paul pointed out to the group last month, the standard solutions for flooding are either retreat or the elevating of buildings, neither of which are options for Cape May. So, that would then entail more, the only remaining solution is more infrastructure-based. Do we create more pumping systems, levees, seawalls, the kind that can float up and down? So I don't know what they're putting together. I have not seen a preview of it. I will receive an update tomorrow.
I just was, it was a breath of fresh air, how naive they can be sometimes, but boy, are they smart. I mean, they got some really good ideas on the one hand, and on the other hand, they're just trying to figure it out. It was really cool. I enjoyed that.
It's the energy and enthusiasm for solving the problem was inspiring, right? And one of the groups actually was really focusing on communication and outreach, which I think could potentially be a great toolbox for this commission to gain. Obviously.
That's where I stayed the whole trip, the whole meeting was at the communications table.
Yeah, one of our shortcomings has definitely been how we interface with the public and deliver messages and change individual behaviors. So hopefully they have recommendations for us beyond social media and PSAs and, worksheets in the school, to think outside of the box, so.
They put the Columbia group back on the agenda for next month. Okay, to make sure, because that'll be good. Any other?
We could probably have someone from the group, like, provide a presentation or Zoom into our meeting if we wanted. I'm sure one of them or several would be happy to do that.
If you want to push that, that's fine.
Do we have the tech ability to bring them in somehow?
We could check on that. I don't know, but we can check on that and find out if that's possible. I mean, worst case scenario, we can do it as some type of call, but a Zoom would probably be preferable, right?
Okay.
So,
Yeah.
yeah. Exactly. Dave's pointing to the giant
Yeah,
TV
that
screen
thing.
behind us, which gets used for a lot of different AV presentations here.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure we can.
So I can't imagine we can't
Yeah.
get this done.
Certainly from their end, they'll understand how to do it. From our end, we might.
Yeah.
Yeah, we have people here that can pull that off, so maybe not in this committee per se, but
Good. Any other new or old business? Charlotte, you want to say something?
Yeah, I do have a few things. As I'm listening to all of you, I'm thinking about our green team, which meets every other year. And next year will be meeting time again. And they do have the ability for some grant funding. And I think it'd be interesting to contact and find out whether or not any new grants could be created for some of the projects like the plants along the trail or any other things that we think about. It'd be, very interesting to see how that all happens. I've never been involved in that phase of the green team, only in saving the kinds of information that create the grants for us, the monies for us. Okay, so that was one thing as I was listening. But then the other thing in terms of activities, I have to tell you about, a little bit about the Monarch Fest. If you could have seen the crowds, you would have just been absolutely overwhelmed. We had more than 1,000 people attend on that kind of cloudy day, but what was engaging for me was the fact that there's this multi-sensories for the children in particular, the sight, the touch, the smell, the listening to directions. Promoting the natural world, our station as a commission did provide all of the things that you might expect about the life cycle of a monarch. But in addition, I have to tell you that Barbara brought swallowtail butterfly exhibits. And those little guys just crunched up parsley like you can't believe. In front of the children's eyes, they were eating as much as we possibly could give them. So that was really an encouraging observation for the children and to participate in the day. We also had commission packets of seeds for them to plant next spring to help to feed the monarchs. And the experts from New Jersey Audubon were there submitting talks all day long about the 1,000-mile journey to Mexico and the tagging and the releasing. It was just overwhelming to see the integration of both adults and children learning at different levels, but certainly learning. So that was interesting for me. And also, I wanted to tell you that I get a magazine from Maryland because our children are there. And the Maryland Association for Environmental Outdoor Education has every single school in Maryland become a green school. And this is their 40th anniversary celebration. And the green schools have a required list that the schools have to go through. There are 23 counties, and it's amazing to me when I read about how they engage these kids at different levels, but each one of the schools is required to have a green team. So that, I think, is a milestone for all of us to think that we might have our own children be involved in that way. I know that Cape May City Elementary had an outstanding teacher, Sandy Sandermeyer Bryant, who was there, who fulfilled that role for so many years before she retired. But when I look at what's just happened recently with children and groups in our city, we can look at Clean Ocean Action. This is an environmental group that started in 1984 in the state of New Jersey. And Exit Zero was good enough to go to one of the cleanups at the Nature Center of Cape May, and they've recorded all of this information for us about student summit action at the Nature Center.
So that, can I interject at that? So Clean Ocean Action's been doing a student summit in New Jersey for decades, and it was always up at Sandy Hook. About 5 or 6 years ago, they came to us at the Nature Center and said they wanted to do a southern summit because they weren't getting the southern schools. So that's been going on, 5 years or so, and it's amazing. They get schools from all over Cape May County, usually like 5th, 6th graders, 7th maybe. But then the students from the high school, Lower Cape May Regional, act as mentors. So they're doing a lot of the programs, so students teaching students. It's always been maybe the first week of October, and it's always been a glorious sunny day. Like, we lucked out. It was just a beautiful day, but that is a really special thing. And honestly, as having been at the Nature Center, I was amazed by what Clean Ocean Action, we were just the host site. We provided, a place for them to do it, but Clean Ocean Action ran that. So it's something really special that's happening here. And I would imagine it's going to continue every year.
It's cited that Atlantic County, Bergen County, Burlington County, Cape May County, Essex County, Ocean County, and they list at least 50 places where they have these beach sweeps.
Oh, yeah, the beach sweeps, again, that's been going on for like three decades at least.
Right.
And we've always had 2 sites in Cape May. One has been the Cove, where Jeff Martin, a teacher at the high school, brings his students to do that. And then the Nature Center has been doing Cape May Harbor for, again, twice a year we do beach sweeps. And we partner with Clean Ocean Action. And back in the day, we used to be able to get Coast Guard recruits. So we would have 100 people out there. It's not that way anymore. We're not allowed to get the recruits for cleanups. But yeah, and honestly, and fortunately, the city's doing the clean community cleanups, but the harbor, I can tell you, needs it more than twice a year.
I think your husband wrote an article for the Cape May Star and Wave. Volunteers sought for beach sweep on October 18th, and it's really interesting, and he goes on to say that the most unusual thing that they ever found was a Singer sewing machine. But in all honesty, I am so delighted and thrilled to think that we have motivated enough people around our town and with other organizations' help. Rutgers University has helped us over the years. There have been just so many partnerships. And we continue to explore and find new ones, but this is the kind of documentation that the Green Team needs saved so that they can submit it, and then we are more eligible for grants. So that's why I just brought it to our attention again today.
All right, that's it. Dave, do you want to follow up on that at all, about the clean communities?
Yeah, so this Thursday the 30th, we have our very first Halloween trick-or-trails at the new nature trail. So we invited fire, police, I think the Nature Center is coming, a couple of local nonprofits are going to be there to help hand out candy to the kids. And we're also having incorporated with it a cleanup at the same time too, because I imagine a lot of these cans can get dropped on the ground. So we're going to have our Cleans Community equipment there to pick up the trash throughout the whole event too. So it's kind of like a combination of trick or treating and Cleans Community. So it's going to be at the,
Time on that?
yeah, I'm sorry, it's from 3 to 5. Yeah, and it starts at the trailhead at the New Nature Trail.
A flyer for it was sent home with
Oh,
the
perfect.
students. Yeah, I got it in my kids' folder.
Wonderful.
Yep.
Yeah, expect a nice little turnout. I know the school is coming. The principal there set up a table, so it should be a good turnout for sure, so. It's gonna be nice weather also.
Weather permitting.
Weather's gonna be beautiful. Bubble's gonna come up, so we'll be fine. So if, like, anybody's invited to come too, I know city council's gonna come, but if anybody here wants to come out and hand out candy too.
So, do you have any idea, like, what the nature center's doing?
No, so basically what we're doing, we're just setting up tables around the perimeter, like around the deck, and they're gonna man the tables and hand out candy. If they have any swag, they hand out swag too, or talk to the kids, but if
No,
that-
I'm just thinking you have an opportunity to do what they call seed balls, where you take mud, dirt, and incorporate seeds, make a ball, and then you throw it into the area that you want to,
Yeah.
you know, seed. So, I don't know. I can get you some seed. I've got some things collected. I've got these seed packets. I mean, I can talk to the nature center.
Yeah, if they like
folks there,
to
I'll-
spread out. I would say this wasn't a last minute thing, but next year we're gonna make it a lot
Yeah.
bigger where we can do more events, but this year we're just kind of focusing on getting people to the trail. But if you want to talk to them and we want to spread.
Seed balls.
Seed, that's,
Yeah.
The kids would have a blast chucking those things
Yeah.
off the walkway, yeah.
Adults might have fun too.
Yeah, right. Who can get it
I mean-
furthest?
You do, you could set up a hand washing station too. Like, you get dirty, you make a mud ball, and then you throw it. And you educate them what you're doing, your seed dispersal and,
if they want to do that, they can. If they-
All right,
But they'll need to bring out like a washing station because right now
Yeah.
everything's kind of set.
well, is it gonna be on the concrete section? So-
No, well, we're going to have maybe 2 tables there, but most of the tables are going to be on the deck itself.
I mean, that's where I would do it. I would do it in
Yeah.
the concrete section where there's still some open space. It's just low
sure, yeah.
grasses, there's cosmos that are in bloom now. That's where I would have a station. Let me see what I can do.
If they want to, just
Yeah,
have them come up to me the day of, let me know. It's totally fine.
okay.
You got a few days to work on it.
I have to go home and do laundry and pack for my trip.
Anybody else have anything for the good of the group? All right, motion to adjourn?
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Mic's off, please.